Before I walked out of my office, I first looked at my calendar. I knew it was July, but I wondered if it was back in February. It's another day on the floor. It's like Groundhog Day all over again. Yesterday on this floor was a sad day. It's not a day about decorum. It's not a day about any of the issues that any of my constituents asked about. They ask me when I go home, and Madam Speaker, I envision that they ask most every member in this body, have you done anything about surprise billing? Have you made sure pre-existing conditions is protected like that bill Greg Walden has with so many co-sponsors? Have you done anything making sure the economy continues to grow? No, I go home and I tell them they had another resolution to attack President Trump or the administration. So we may be in July, but it's Groundhog Day all over again. Are we doing anything about a budget? Because, Madam Speaker, I listened. I listened to my colleagues when they say, show me your budget, show me your values. And I know winning in a majority is important. And I knew, Madam Speaker, we're in the majority, putting a budget out is not easy. But it is the fundamental responsibility of a majority. So yes, I came to this floor hoping we'd have that debate, but no debate about a budget. Can't tell my constituents that the majority did a budget this year. When they ask me, well, what about, I read all these about a caps, that you got to come into agreement to ever make something happen together. No, I'm coming back down to the floor. This time we're talking about contempt. They asked me, Madam Speaker, well, what contempt are you talking about? I said, well, it's regard the census. Well, wasn't that all solved? Well, yeah, that's already been solved and already been decided. But Madam Speaker, this majority thinks it's another political opportunity. Then I listened and I heard this comment the other day. Madam Speaker, they said, I challenge you to find voters that can name a single thing House Democrats have done for their kitchen table this year. A single thing, challenging all voters to name one thing. And I wondered, did my press operation put that out? No, it didn't come from my office. Then I wondered, maybe it was another Republican inside this body. No, it wasn't one member elected on the Republican side. This quote actually came from a chief of staff of one of the most prominent members on the other side of the aisle. I agree with that chief of staff. Name me one thing that we have done for the kitchen table. Yesterday, we did a resolution attacking the president. But we couldn't even get to that because, Madam Speaker, we couldn't even have democracy in this body. We set a record that we've never seen before based upon a speaker's action. The very first page in Thomas Jefferson's manual talks about decorum. But not only did this body try to change the rules after the fact, they don't think everybody's equal, Madam Speaker. Because if your words get taken down, you don't have a right to speak that day. But no, we should change that. We should show them. The majority should get what they want. Madam Speaker, I guess the majority doesn't want a budget. I guess the majority doesn't want to do anything about surprise billing. I guess the majority doesn't want to find, when it comes to our national defense, to keep a 58-year history of bipartisanship. They broke that record too. They made it partisan, and that's what we did last week. Well, now we're right back at Groundhog Day, and we're going to have contempt votes today. But that's not all we're going to do today. We're going to go for the third time on impeachment. Impeachment. Madam Speaker, I watched a crisis on a border. I listened to the other side who asked the president if he would pause a court action so we could deal with it. And I patiently waited those 2 weeks to have a hearing on it. Because, Madam Speaker, I'm not in the majority. I can't control these committees. The majority party can. They didn't have one hearing on it. But they've scheduled another one. They got Mueller coming in. They even postponed it so they could have more time. I guess 22 months, $40 million, 13 countries. I guess that's not enough. Madam Speaker, I wonder if it's only one chief of staff challenging to find voters that can name a single thing House Democrats have done for the kitchen table this year. Because when I'm home, they don't come up to me and talk to me about party. They talk to me about what the House is doing. Because in their house, in their kitchen table, you know what they talk about there? They talk about their budget. Because they do know their budget is their values. And they value having a budget. They'll talk politics, but I don't think they get too petty. It's interesting. In the kitchen table, the House of Representatives, there's rules for different people. I thought the rule of law mattered in this country. And I was kind of excited when I watched a problem-solving caucus stand up together, Republicans and Democrats, before there was a vote for a speaker in this Congress, and they requested a consensus calendar. And what does a consensus calendar mean? It means if a member from any side of the aisle works really hard, that they believe in the issue, that they get 290 co-sponsors. And you have to understand what that means. That doesn't mean walking up to a congresswoman or congressman and saying, will you support my bill? Will you put your name on this? Do you believe in this policy so great, will you put your name on this? And it takes 218 to pass a bill, but that's not the number they put out. 290 to get above politics. If you made that happen, your bill would come to the floor. Well, that was the rule. That's what we just put in. Madam Speaker, you know what happened? There was this congressman from South Carolina. He didn't get 290. He's up to 370. He followed the exact rule that the majority just put in. And you know what happened at the day that he was going to be the very first bill on a consensus calendar? And what was the topic that really brought people together? Survivor benefits for those who gave their life to defend this nation. I was proud. I was proud that more than 370 people in this body did not play politics with that issue. But you know what happened when that day came? The rules are not equal. The rules are not equal. They are written, but they are changed. They were changed last Friday. They were changed so he could not have his vote. So Congressman Joe Wilson could not come to this floor. Was it changed in a committee? No. They put it in a rule. Self-executing. Yesterday, when I watched a quorum on this floor, any other member of this body would not have the right to speak if their words were taken down. If it was me, you, anybody else. But no, the rules were changed once again. And everybody on one side of the aisle, Madam Speaker, voted to change those rules. That they hold people seem to be different, seem to be special, seem that they can break the rules. I guess the majority should get what they want, not what the people around the kitchen table of America want. I wonder, Madam Speaker, I wonder, when I watch people campaign and they talk about what they want to achieve here, how many said they wanted to have a week of contempt, of impeach, and resolution all after one entity, the President of the United States? I didn't have anybody on any side of the aisle ever ask me that question. I hold this job with a great deal of respect. You know, there's less than 12,000 people that ever had the privilege to serve here. I travel a long way each week to have that opportunity. I spend a lot of time thinking about it. I spend a lot of time listening and talking to my constituents. Last night, I went home and I did a telephone town hall. Thousands of people were on that call. Not one person asked me about the contempt of a census form that's already going out. They talked about an earthquake. They wondered if they'd have enough money. I said, I don't know. We don't have a budget. The hospital. This community is not very big, Ridgecrest, about 30,000. The earthquake did damage to the hospital. People can get some surprise billings. Not anything their fault, but we're not talking about it on this floor. We're not solving that problem. But we're holding another person in the administration in contempt. Is this going to go anywhere? Is this going to do anything for anybody's kitchen table? I know some people on the other side of the aisle, Madam Speaker, might get mad at this chief of staff. But sometimes you get upset when people speak the truth. Sometimes it hurts. What hurts more to the American public is more of this. If it's just going to be Groundhog Day every day that we serve here, because once we get done with this, we'll debate impeachment for the third time. For the third time, we'll debate impeachment. When we go home this week and we talk about what we achieved, I don't know what I can say. That's not why we ran. We are better than this. When I watched the decorum yesterday, I know we are better than that. But what's most disturbing to me is when somebody did not abide by the rules of the House, the rules were changed to protect that person. America is more than a country. America is an idea of self-governance, idea of a rule of law, of a respect. If you care so much to change the rule that you would have a consensus calendar, abide by it. Not just because somebody on the other side of the aisle worked harder. If you cared so much that you said a budget matters, that it sets the tone of who you are, produce one. I understand there's winners and losers in elections. But Madam Speaker, when I heard what a member said of why they wanted to battle, they admitted to their colleagues they were using the census investigation to gather information that, in his words, that the courts could use in ongoing litigation. So are we really here because your constituents asked about it? Are we here because you just want to play a little more politics? Because I would tell you this. You got another thing coming up right after that you could play politics on it one more time. I would ask, deep inside, that for once, let's put it aside. I know that election didn't turn out the way you wanted it, but at the end of the day, people expect us to find common ground. They expect us to give on both sides. And I will guarantee you, no one ever went to the polls to say, I want you to go there to spend a whole week just attacking an administration. I imagine the majority of people who voted for you had the same question that chief of staff. They wanted you to change the kitchen table. So let's start focusing on the issues that the American public is talking around their kitchen tables. And I yield back.
Members are